Hi, everybody. Gene here. Welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, where every single week we answer the most common and uncommon questions about tapping and EFT so you can eliminate self-sabotage and take the action that you want. One of the tools I created a number of years ago to help people take action more consistently by remembering to tap more consistently was something that I call the Ruas Center. Now, the name itself is not a very good name because as a marketer, I now understand it isn't very descriptive and you don't know what's going on. So the gist is, for 279 days, if you sign up, every single morning you will receive an email with a link to a tap along audio and a tapping script that you can tap along to right away. And if you are a member, you actually have access to all of the tapping scripts immediately and all of the tapping's audios immediately. But it's also really nice to have this gentle reminder to go and tap. In addition to that, there are over 20 tapping tools that are taught there. There are a number of tap along sessions that I did with groups of people that you can tap along to. And normally I charge $99 for a 6-month membership to this. Because of what's going on in the world and wanting to give people an opportunity to just tap more regularly, I am currently offering it for $27.90. So basically what that comes down to is for 10 cents a tapping script or a tapping audio, you can have access to all of those amazing audios. And again, you can download them so you can take them with them. So even after your membership expires, you have access to them and you can access them all right away. If you'd like more information about it and you'd like to receive it, all you need to do is go to tappingqa.com/C, and C is spelled SEE, like to look, tappingqa.com/C, so you can access the Ruas Center today. This is Gene Montrastilli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live today from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 452, originally aired April 29th, 2020. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Today, we are going to talk about and tap on when we are of two minds. And because of everything that is going on in the world right now, it's really easy to be conflicted about what is in front of us, how we are acting, what we are doing day to day, and what we should be doing long term. But before we do that, just two quick reminders. The first is we have a free 10-part guide where you can use tapping to eliminate self-sabotage. All you need to do is go to tappingqa.com, click on the big blue button. If you happen to be listening to this right now in the website, up in that right-hand corner at the top of the column, you will see the button to get that 10-part guide. Every single day over the next week and a half, we will send you another email with a video, with an audio, with some instructions, something will help you in little bitty bite-sized chunks to start eliminating self-sabotage. And it does it in such a way where you're not overwhelmed. That's why we send them to you one at a time so you can use it and add the skills and add the tools so it's easier for you to take action. The second thing I wanted to do is I wanted to thank all of the supporters of the Tapping Q&A podcast. I really appreciate the fact that you are reaching out and making it possible for us to produce this audio every single week for everybody free of charge. If you are a supporter of the podcast and you did not see the note, I am giving all of the supporters free access to the Ruas Center, what I mentioned at the top of the show. So if you did not receive that notification, supporters, all you need to do is drop me a note, Gene, Gene, at tappingqa.com. And if you would like to be one of our supporters to get all of the regular bonuses, as well as stuff that we dole out from time to time, all you need to do is go to tappingqa.com/support. I am not one who watches a great deal of reality television. But the reality television that I do consume, most of it falls into the category of competition reality. I'm a really big fan of watching people who are skilled at something compete to try and create something artistic. Not because one person is better than the other, but I'm just fascinated by the creative process, especially when it is done on a time constraint under pressure, with strictures of what the particular challenge is. So I watched Top Chef, the Great British Baking Show, or Bake Off for those of you in the UK. They had to rename it here in the United States for copyright reasons. And I also like watching Project Runway. And in the most recent season of Project Runway, there was a designer by the name of Victoria, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce her last name, who is from Moldova. And because she was from Moldova, English was her second language. And she spoke it really well. Like, I am jealous of her English. I wish my Spanish was as good as her English. But like many non-native speakers, because their vocabulary isn't as large as a native speaker, they're able to communicate clearly, but they end up using imagery and word choices that a native speaker wouldn't use that almost sounds more poetic and more lyrical because of the imagery that they are choosing. Because again, it communicates exactly what they want to communicate, but it's just a half a twist off because of the words that they're choosing. And so heading into the finale, which is a really big deal because I think $250,000 was on the line and all of these opportunities, the 3 final contestants were super, super stressed about what was going on and making good choices to move forward. And so when Victoria was doing one of her interviews, where she's talking to the camera, describing what is going on, this is the way she described it. She says, "In my brain, I have 1,000 little brains and they are all fighting each other," which is such a beautiful little phrase. I mean, what she's basically saying is I'm of 2 minds or of 3 minds. But because she didn't have that idiom of 2 minds, she described it much more literally. In my brain, I have 1,000 little brains and they're fighting with each other. And when you hear that phrase, even though that's not the way that you would probably say that, you know exactly what she's talking about. We all know what it's like to be of 2 minds or 3 minds, or to have 1,000 little brains as we're trying to navigate and make a choice. And oftentimes when we are in that circumstance, what it does is it leads us to inaction. Because consciously and subconsciously, we don't want to waste time. We don't want to waste energy. We don't want to waste effort by going in the wrong direction because we don't want to come back and have to restart. But the reality is me going in the wrong direction, making the wrong, quote unquote, wrong choice might cost me time. But if I don't make any choice at all, it's also costing me time because time is passing and I'm not moving towards my goal. And so even though our system is trying to save us and prevent us from making an error and preventing us from wasting opportunity, by not taking action, we're doing the exact same thing. So today what we're going to do is we are going to talk and tap around this idea of being of 2 minds. And it isn't just about big decisions. Do I take job A or job B? Do I create this product or that product? Do I date this person or that person? It can also be in a circumstance like what is going on right now is, do I force myself to work or do I give myself the day off to recover and recuperate? Because what is going on right now is so mentally and emotionally taxing. And so I am sure you have choices that are in front of you right now that you're not exactly sure what to do, because oftentimes our choices are not clear cut. You know, there are pros and cons to both sides of the argument, and that makes it really difficult to make good choices. So that's what we're going to tap for today. So what I want you to do is just tap on the side of your hand, take a nice big deep breath for me, and just move from tapping point to tapping point, repeating after me. I recognize the fact that making choices is hard. That most of the choices that I'm making are not clear cut. There is not an obvious answer. There's not an obvious way forward. Because of this, I am of 2 minds. I can see the pros and cons to both sides. I can see the emotional benefit and the emotional struggle of both sides. And because of that fact, it's hard for me to make a choice. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste energy. I don't want to squander the possibilities. And that is the reason why I'm stuck. I'm keeping myself safe by not making a choice. My system believes that if I don't move forward, then I won't waste time going the wrong way. I won't waste energy making the wrong choice. But the reality is that when I don't make a choice, time is passing. When I don't take action, opportunity is being squandered. Even though my system is trying to keep me safe by not making the wrong choice, it is preventing me from being safe, from moving forward. It is okay for me to make a choice. It is okay for that choice not to be perfect. It is okay that I don't have all of the information when I'm making a choice. I give myself permission to know I can make choices even when I have incomplete information. I give myself permission to make choices even when I'm not certain about which choice to make. I make choices all the time with incomplete information. And that is okay. I give myself permission to make choices that aren't perfect. Knowing that I can learn from those choices. Knowing I can grow from those choices. It's not about being perfect in every choice. It's not about being perfect in every moment. I give myself permission to be easy with myself when I choose. Knowing it is about the sum total of all of my choices, which contribute and create my happiness. I give myself permission to be imperfect, knowing that I can still create a great life. To be happy and healthy, to move forward in a way that I can be satisfied. It is natural to be of two minds. I give myself permission to be easy with being of two minds. And to move forward in the way that makes the most sense for me. Even when each choice is not obvious. I can make choices that create a life that I want. Even in the imperfection of those choices. Nice deep breath. The reality is we're always going to be of two minds or three minds or 1,000 little brains as we try and navigate the world. Because it's just not black and white. And Surprisingly, we make lots of choices where we are of two minds, but we're able to see clearly enough to know which one we need to listen to. It's just in those moments where it's so tough and it's so tight, where the consequences feel bigger and the choices feel less obvious. And so when we're able to look at the big picture and recognize how all of the choices fit together, it's easier for us, and we can be okay with ourselves not to be perfect. I hope you found the tapping useful. If you know someone in your life who could use a tapping like this, please pass it along. Don't spam your inbox and send it to everybody in the world. But might know one or two people who could use this today. The easiest and most common way people find a new piece of content is from the recommendation of a friend, because we trust the people around us, and when they share something, we're much more likely to listen to it. So it would mean the world to me, and it's really the highest compliment you can pay the podcast and my work is by passing it along to someone else. If you haven't done so already, I'd also encourage you to subscribe to the podcast. In podcasting parlance, subscribe is always free. It's not like Netflix or Disney Plus where you're paying a fee to subscribe. You can get the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, Deezer, iHeartRadio, radio.com. Basically everywhere you find audio, you can find the show. Sometimes they say subscribe, sometimes they say follow. Whatever the button is, make sure you click it inside of the app that you listen to audio, because when a new episode comes out, you will immediately and automatically download the next episode so you don't miss something that is fun. If you have not done it already, I'd also encourage you to download the Tapping Q&A app. It's absolutely free in both Apple and Android devices. Just search Tapping Q&A in the App Store. Not only do you have access to the entire back catalog of tapping audios, we also have an entire library of tap-along scripts just like this one, so you can just read the script and tap along without having to play the audio. Again, it's absolutely free. Search Tapping Q&A in your App Store of choice. If you have a question, a comment, a topic you'd like to cover, someone you'd like me to interview, I'm doing a bunch of interviews this month to spool out over the course of the summer and into the fall. Drop me a note. I can always be reached, Gene, Gene, at tappingqa.com. If you're on the website, click the contact link. If you're inside the Tapping Q&A app, click that contact link as well. From the website, you can, and inside of the app, you can send me an email, or you can even send a voice memo so you can just talk back to the show. I would love to hear from you. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrestelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrestelli Tapping Q&A. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrestelli and Tapping Q&A.